block with the chopstick. No, I'm not Blueface, but niggas know I mob shit. Blah, 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 cause he talking out. Blah, 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 he ain't walking out. Just the other day, another nigga I was marking out. Uzi on demand, we ain't never gotta talk it out. Baby, what you asking, what's your question? I'm dangerous in the field and I love wearing fashion. Tusi get it crockin' if another homie lacking. F&N lay him down or he tracking. Same nigga dissing on the neck, say he ramping. I go on a murder spree like Manson. Chopper hit a nigga arm, leg, now he dancing. Put a nigga on 1,000,000 hits, now he trending.
I don't trust no mark, no hoe, no bop, no op, no bitch, no blop blop. I get in that mode so fast, on his ass for the cop, don't make me hit you with the blop blop way.
What's the good old big deal with the good old people, man? It's your boy Young and Hefe. Don't care about number what the check say. Make sure you go ahead, like and subscribe, because it don't cost you nothing. Press that button, and if you ring that notification bell, I'm gonna bring you mail. What's the good old big deal with the good old people? It's Hot Topics with your boy Young and Hefe, and I'm here to deliver you another one like the other one. The recipient of Hot Topics is no other than my guy Jeezy. So I had to tap in with the tap in after seeing this segment placed by Poetic Flacco. And the title had read that FBI agent basically drops information or exposed Jeezy as being a snitch. And when I tapped into this, I already knew I was gonna cover and do this segment by way of the run-ins and past relations, you know what I'm saying, that I've had with Jeezy, you know what I'm saying, by way of the homie Lil Sody, rest in peace. Then, you know, me and the homie Tiny Sody, homie Tiny Menace, we had messed with him, you know, he used to come out here in LA, you know what I'm saying, pull up, you know, deal, you know what I'm saying, smoke. He was at the last video shoot of that RIP, you know what I'm saying, where it was filmed at the Santa Monica gravesite, you know what I'm saying, and then we went to Gravestone Studio afterwards, you know what I'm saying, Warren G came through, YG came through. Now, however, I have never ever heard anything about Jeezy being a snitch, but if you don't know about federal cases, and when you look at federal cases and you look at the BMF case, and you look at a case just in general, and you see dudes going down and dudes being indicted, it'll make you wonder why other dudes are not indicted. I went through this myself on my case. When I was indicted, all the people that dealt with me was not indicted except one person. But all these people was named in our case as unindicted co-conspirators. So if, for whatever reason, if they had a weak case with us fighting them, or they felt the need to supersede indictment to add more people on, those unindicted co-conspirators that they knew had something to do with the case could potentially and would potentially be indicted. Now, however, everybody don't get indicted on indictment. They always have unindicted co-conspirators, and all of them is not telling, and all of them is not giving information. It just is what it is. Some people slip through the cracks. They get who they want, who they feel they got the solid core evidence on, and they go from there. But with that being said, we definitely about to get into this content pertaining to Young Jeezy, because it dates back to the beef with him and Gucci Mane, and you know, Pooky Lo, rest in peace Pooky Lo, with him being unalived, you know what I'm saying? So we definitely got to cover this, and you already know, man, it's the halfway and the half effect. We gonna commentate.
Leading the way in Atlanta rap, it was only inevitable that a collab would come soon. In 2005, Gucci Mane and Jeezy would record 2 songs together. The first song was Black Tees, which was a response to Dem Franchise Boys' hit song White Tee, and the second song was So Icy, or just Icy. So Icy would go crazy in the streets almost immediately, and would then be featured as the main single on Trap House 1. The song was such a massive hit that even high schools across the country banned the iconic snowman tee that Jeezy wore in the video. But as time went on, rumors surfaced that Jeezy may have been upset with how things went. Although it's still not 100% clear why Jeezy was upset, we can assume it has something to do with the fact that he wanted the song to be on his upcoming album. He quickly took to the studio to release a diss track titled Stay Strapped, where at the end of the song he would put a $10,000 bounty on Gucci's So Icy chain.
Real talk, I got a bounty on that shit, 10 stacks, man, you know Jeezy pay.
Jeezy would start to distance himself from Gucci and cause some strain on their friendship. Gucci would also get upset at the fact they could never perform their song live, which he felt they were missing out on a huge part of promotion. Because once again, this is in the days where live shows made a huge impact on getting your music heard. But Jeezy didn't stop and he continued the beef. Over the coming weeks, the petty beef would turn into something much more. One summer evening, Gucci would go home with a stripper after a party, just a month after the So Icy hit dropped. 5 men stormed the home where Gucci was staying, armed with pistols, brass knuckles, and duct tape. They would get into a physical altercation, pistol whipping the stripper and hitting Gucci in the face. One of the men allegedly yelled, "Shoot him." Upon realizing his life was at risk, Gucci shot back. Some people say he reached for his gun, where other stories say he may have disarmed one of the men and took his. He shot the gun, killing one of the men as the others ran off. 3 days would go by until someone found the body of the deceased man in the woods behind an elementary school. When the smoke cleared, authorities identified the man as Pooky Lo, one of Jeezy's prodigies under his CTE label. After 9 days, Gucci Mane would turn himself in, claiming self-defense. He released a statement saying, he's not a murderer, but he was scared for his life, and he had to be a man about it.
If you hip-hop fans and you Jeezy and Gucci Mane fans, then more than likely you know this story, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to explain it to y'all. It was explained to y'all right there. I think they beef came by way of the So Icy song. As the video was explaining, both of these guys were hot Atlanta artists at the time, up and coming, haven't reached the status that they're both at now. And you know, they recorded a Black T song, then they also recorded that So Icy song. The So Icy song went crazy. It was a hit. And I think it was a disagreement, or they couldn't come to a understanding on who track or album it was gonna go on. Jeezy wanted it on his, Gucci wanted it on his. Being that they couldn't get it done, I guess Jeezy didn't want to sign off on it. You know what I'm saying? He like, hey, you can't perform it, it ain't gonna be played. But it was getting played on the radio. I guess it was signed off to be played on the radio, if that makes sense. But Gucci couldn't sign it. Couldn't perform it without Gucci signing. Gucci couldn't perform it without Jeezy signing off on it. So like, I don't know if Jeezy had some lawyers involved to where he blocked it, like, okay, you cannot perform this unless I'm performing, and being that I'm not gonna perform a deal with you, you can't perform the song. On top of that, Jeezy fired back with a song, some clap back or whatever the case may be. And then that song, you know what I'm saying, they saying that he said, as we heard him himself, it's a $10,000 bounty chain on this dude head. Dudes try to collect, allegedly. While dudes try to collect, somebody was knocked down. Rest in peace, Pooky Lo. Gucci go down for that. When Gucci go down for that, Gucci played a role, man. Look, I was scared. I didn't know what to do. My life was in danger. It was self-defense. You know what I'm saying? They had guns. I just shot. I wasn't trying to kill nobody. Dude just happened to die. Being that it seemed like the FBI probably had tapped in at this time and they knew what was going on, they let Gucci, basically, you know what I'm saying, they did the right thing as far as letting him walk. I ain't gonna say let him slide. Somebody run up in your house, you know, and you get the, you know, you got the kill. You know, if anybody get caught up in your house, intruder, anybody threatening manner, you got the kill. So that's kind of how that situation went. Y'all know they was beefing for a long time over the years. They finally squashed their beef. I think they had like a verses and all type of stuff like that. And they might got a new song out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not for sure if they got a new song out. But in this next clip, we gonna play this FBI agent. He gonna furthermore speak like reason why they got on Jeezy and some things that happened. And then from there, you already know, man, it's the Hef Weight and the Hef Effect. We're gonna commentate.
Yeah, I'm not going to say the guy's name because he's pretty famous, and to be fair, he was never charged with a crime. But we had these two rappers in Atlanta in the early 2000s, and they were beefing with each other, trading diss tracks, the whole thing. Then rapper number one, the famous one, orders his goons to go beat up rapper number two and steal this gaudy gold and diamond necklace he wore in all of his videos, and that's where it got interesting. The goon squad shows up at rapper number two's place. He pulls a gun and starts shooting. One of the attackers gets hit, makes it about 200 yards away from the house before he drops dead. Rapper number two is arrested for murder, but is dismissed as self-defense. And the real criminal here is rapper number one, who ordered the violent act that got his man killed. I had the phone records and 2 witnesses prepared to testify for what would have been a rock-solid RICO murder case. But for reasons that were never explained to me, the U.S. Attorney's Office declined prosecution, and rapper number 1 went on to have a phenomenally successful career. Oh well, win some, lose some.
Okay, so y'all heard, I'm gonna say retired FBI agent. I don't know if he's still on duty, but in which the way I was raised and how I view things, you don't talk to the police and you don't believe what the police say. Now, this is not public knowledge. I don't think this is something you can pull up. This is something that's just being spoke on. I can't say if it's true. I can't say that it's untrue. All I could just go off of, being that I don't see no paperwork, is my dealings in the few times of my run-ins with young Jeezy and the hospitality and realness he laid out, you know what I'm saying, and the character he was. What goes on behind closed doors and what goes on with the feds, whether it's proffer hearings, secret hearings, house hearings, you got to come down to the station hearings, I don't know nothing about that. But what this FBI agent is alluding to is that the feds wanted to pick that case up. You know what I'm saying? It was, I don't know if this was state. You know it was state level, and Gucci got out by way of self-defense. But this is a federal FBI agent. So he say like the FBI was peeking their nose in it, and they was trying to like make this like a robbery murder. And they knew it had something to do with 2 rappers, hip hop police, I'm pretty sure. They concluded, brought heads together and made everything make sense. So they was gonna try to charge Jeezy on Gucci. Like, we know you wasn't there, but what's being alleged and what we hearing and we feeling, that's a strong case of evidence we got point towards you trying to put a hit on this dude, and we got the lyrics of you speaking this content. However, he left an open window and door by saying that with them wanting to go after Jeezy and pursue this case because they feel they had it, all of a sudden they're told that don't even worry about it or they cannot pursue this case. And definitely it will wonder for what reasons why, because you got to get some evidence, right, in order to not be indicted if they could indict you. Like, if anything in this situation, I feel like if they had Jeezy indicted, they would have indicted him. They wouldn't let him to go on to be the rap star he was unless he gave, like I said, some exclusive information. We never heard Big Meech come out and speak against him. I don't know. But as we about to find out in these next clips, because these are Blue Da Vinci clips, and we know he was a part of BMF. He was there, you know what I'm saying, in the thick of things. He was in jail, and you know, it's just been a lot of riffraff as far as his name and what other names is mentioned, and he say he the bearer of bad news. So he say he bring all bad news to the light. So we definitely got to hear, so we definitely want to hear what he got to say, and y'all already know. It's the halfway and the half effect. We gonna commentate.
She started the line like, ooh, old white lady, do you know that Gunna told you was a bitch? Like all that shit, bitch ass shit. I'm cut from a different cloth. I'm cut from the cloth that you got your information on whoever is the rat. And you got it in black and white, and you understand what went on with such case or whatever, you feel me? So, you know, when it come down to me, it's just different.
Was Jeezy in the paperwork?
Hell yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just public information. You can look up right now on your phone. Man testifies about Jeezy's cocaine selling. Type in your phone something like that, you're gonna see one of the who name it Lights. Ralph Sims, the same that told about the limo that try to say I told. Ralph Sims, Ralphie. Told on Jeezy, told everything Jeezy ever did. Jeezy had like 12, Jeezy had more statements on him than me. What you talking about?
Man, listen to me. The fact he's still in office, that's some crazy ass bullshit.
But nah, he didn't get indicted because he did some more other shit. I feel like that. I know some things he did, like he turned Meech's cars into the feds. The same Porsche truck and that Ferrari I was talking about a while before, came to Miami and doing some lie detector tests about this gun case he caught one year in 06 when I went to go meet him. We had a shootout, not against him, but some other, like when me and him start trying to talk, some other popped it off with us and we end up having a shootout. and he ended up going to jail for a gun. If anybody is familiar with that Miami case, him and Twin came back to do a polygraph test supposed to be for that shit. And the security said that Meech cars pulled up on flatbeds, nigga, into the federal building when he went and did it, when he was inside for his meeting or whatever. So I know he turned in the cars. Ain't no telling what people be doing, bro. That's all I know he did. And then he told about how the gun case that was already thrown out at the state level, and then the feds picked it back up. So everybody look up Big House. You look up Big House. He was a security for Jay-Z. He was a security for Big Meech. He was also a security for Young Jeezy. Yeah, Jeezy put the people on his ass, and he'll let you know. You look him up, he talking his story, and you know, you got all these people with these accounts of these people that's out here. Sorry, y'all, I just be the bearer of bad news because 10 years go by and people act like they ain't never heard nothing, don't know nothing. Like, hold on, the selective politics shit gotta stop. I pushed the record out. It was on Koch. It was getting promoted and all the shit. It was getting promoted correctly. All the numbers was right. I was like 300 and some spins a week on my BDS at the time. And I got a call from my team. It was like, bro, they talking about, it was like a Tuesday. I think it was a Tuesday, if I am mistaken. I was on the road on my tour bus, and I got a call from my team, and they said that on Thursday, in 2 days, they gonna pull the record from radio if they don't get Jeezy and CTE signature. They wasn't signed off for the record. So I like, what? I'm like, all right, hold on, bro. Let me call this and blah, blah, blah. So I called it. And this wasn't the first time I called them about that. It was already mentioned before they dropped the shit. So they dropped it, and we still didn't have the signatures. And I think it was dropped on good faith that we was going to get the signatures from Alan Grunblatt at Koch. They got the shit. They worked it out with Clear Channel or whatever. So, you know what I'm saying? So the record could stay up there, and they was telling them that they going to have the paperwork or however it went. But them motherfuckers, I called Jeezy. He swear up and down to God in heaven. He signed off and all this shit. But I had my signature, then my signature for BMF Entertainment as the owner. Then we had Alan Nim's signature from Koch. Then we had John Jackson, which is a fabulous name as an individual, fabulous, the artist. Then we had Skane and Clue for Desert Storm was signed off. I had those signatures. I saw them with my eyes. Then I think I had, at this time, was Jay Brown's signature from Def Jam. He was the vice president of Def Jam at that time. I believe his signature was on my record for Def Jam. I'm just gonna pull up. I left my tour route and drove the bus all the way to Miami to go have a conversation with Jeezy about the record being signed off. And that's when that shootout happened that I was just talking about previously. I went to talk to him about that record. That's what the conversation was about. I was coming to meet him and confront him about the shit with all of this shit with me. And as soon as we start talking, Tula was walking down the street with dreads, and they're like, oh shit, there go Jeezy, dog. And the other nigga like, oh, and Blue, that's Jeezy and Blue, nigga, that's BMF right there, nigga. Oh, bro, let us get a picture. And then my little cousin Twin, big Twin, he like, oh, nigga, they ain't taking no picture. You see they trying to talk, so the little like, well, and then the Twin fired him, boom. And that's what started that shit that ended up to the shootout. And me and him never talked about the record right there because that fight turned into a shootout, turned into we all ran, turned into Jeezy got locked up for the gun. And then later on, Jeezy went back to have a polygraph test about that situation. That was all about that day I went to meet him to talk about why he didn't sign off on my record with me, him, and Jeezy, and they pulled it from the radio. And I believe he couldn't because the feds had jacked him and told him, nigga, if you help these niggas, and the same reason why he couldn't do the deal with us. Same reason why he couldn't put his name on the contract, because the contract ensues help to BMF, and they struck his ass down and told him they were going to put your ass in prison if you continue to help Big Meech and Blue in that BMF shit. You're going to fully pull away from that shit. Like, there ain't nobody else stopped quitting the mob. He the only in history that just stopped claiming the mob.
All right, so look, this just my opinion, and I'm not saying it happened this way. After hearing everything, even after hearing Blue the Vinci speak, ain't nobody stamping for show that he was telling. Like, it felt like Blue Da Vinci want to say, or he's alluding to him telling, or just like, man, it was a funny type of situation going on. Like, you know, he was there with us, we was partying, we did everything. You know what I'm saying? He should have been in them phone taps, whatever. He's saying everything but coming out saying like, hey, Jeezy was drug dealing, he should have been on the BMF case with us, but he wasn't. Like I said, right? doing my case in the feds, right? As I said, I had co-conspirators. And these was dudes, you know what I'm saying, that I've dealt with and things like that. And whatever the case may be, we not going to speak on any criminal activity. But I'm just giving y'all an example that you can be in the thick of things or come at the end of something and be in something a little bit and be not indicted because they feel that they don't have a lot of evidence on you, and they just let some people go. When they got a lot of fish and got things airtight, they just let things go for whatever reason. I don't know, because I don't know the minds of the police and which way they think. They're told to think different than people that they fancy criminals. Now, what I think happened personally is that the feds got at Jeezy, probably turned what information they had in on him into the grand jury. The grand jury probably told the feds, like, this is not enough information to indict this dude. So what the feds do, they know Jeezy rapping, right? The feds come at Jeezy like this. We already got Big Meech. And we know that this Range Rover, this Lambo, these luxury cars you got is his cars. So unless you woulda, because look, with this stuff like that, they could have probably got him like on something as far as the conspiracy. He could have been merged on the conspiracy for his relations and interactions with Big Meech and probably having them cars. You know what I'm saying? Because Big Meech probably gave that to him like on some gift stuff, you know what I'm saying? Or just like on some, you know, go ahead, drive, look good, you know what I'm saying? While you out here putting these records out, make it look good till you get on. Everybody know they always getting dough. Like I said, I don't know the extent of the situation with Jeezy, but I'm just saying, I think the feds probably got at him like, hey, look, we know you got that below the Big Meech. Turn that over, or you go get indicted. And he like, spook, man, here, man, take this. I don't want this, man, go ahead. That's how it go. That's how it go. Like, for real. And I'm thinking, like, my opinion, that's how they got at him. Like, hey, look, everything you have that's tied to Big Meech or in reference to him or any relations, turn that over and the rest cut ties, because if you deal with any of these dudes, you going next. And that's probably when that record got put out by him and Blue Da Vinci. He knew Blue Da Vinci was on the case. I don't know if he was indicted yet, or he probably knew it was to come, because they got Meech in the thick of things that people was in. Like, man, let me cut my ties. Like, yeah, I'm not signing off on that record. Let me get off that. But the respectable thing and the G thing about Jeezy is that Jeezy showed up and met him and was going to talk to him in person. He never got to talk. I don't know what happened after that. Obviously, Blue Da Vinci went down. I don't know if people were shook up behind the shooting, but they never got to speak on it. And I just think that shows a lot of character right there and integrity for Jeezy just even to show up to holler at the man in person. So, for me, I don't know nothing about no telling. I'm going to have to see that work, or it's going to have to be something or some audio or something like that, because we could believe anything the police say. The police could come up here to say the bar, say they had you at the station, and you would say this and that. The social media space going to run wild and crazy with it. With that being said, I'm going to conclude it right there. It's your boy, Young and Hefe. Don't care about number what the check say. Make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe, because it don't cost you nothing. Press that button, and if you ring that notification bell, I'm going to bring you mail.
Why you ain't with it, bitch ass nigga? You know why you ain't with it, nigga? Cause right now, it's a nigga up grinding and working harder than you, nigga. Get your bitch ass up, nigga. You know why you ain't